Let's see. I got Scott Simpson in the house, the AI and YouTube rock star. We're going to be talking about supercharging your content results with actionable strategic AI systems. You got a system to do this. I'm a paying member of their program, AI Mavericks, by the way. It's an honor to have you here today, Scott. How are you, man?
I'm excellent. How are you?
I'm doing well, and you are excellent. You guys got a big announcement about Russell Brunson coming into one of y'all's events. Tell us about that.
Yeah, we're excited to announce that Russell is going to be our keynote speaker at AI Marketing World 2026, October 21st through 24th in Dallas. So we're pumped about that. He's doing some really cool things with AI in the funnel space, and
Mhm.
being the founder, one of the founders of ClickFunnels, he's got a lot to say about tech and SaaS and software, and I think they're on the cutting edge of some really cool stuff in the AI space. So he's we're actually not just getting him in like a 25-minute. A lot of these guys come in and they're like, I'm gonna give a rah powerful
Mhm.
presentation for 25 minutes. He's like, no, I want to teach. So the
Ooh,
minimum that they said was 60 minutes. And I was like, let's get him for 90 minutes. So he's gonna do some really cool stuff talking
wow.
about AI integrations. So we're pumped.
That's great. He's gonna dive
Yeah.
deep. That's cool, man. This guy from potato guns all the way to running ClickFunnels and rubbing shoulders with Tony Robbins and Richard Branson, all that. That is
Yep.
definitely somebody worth following. So AI marketing world, you and Austin are also off to building amazing things that will help us with our AI implementations. So Scott, as we talk about this, what's an AI content system? And let's talk about it from a higher level, though, not just the basics. Like how are brands supposed to build this thing?
How are brands supposed to build
AI
content?
content systems. Yeah.
AI content system. Well, so I think, like, if you think about how content's been created over, like, historically, over the period of the last, I guess, as long as content has been created, which I guess would predate a lot of things.
You know
If
it,
you go back
BC.
to news and you take it back probably millennia. But if you think about how content has been traditionally created, it's one person's opinion on a topic that's interesting or relevant, and then they sit down and create the content. Well, now because we have artificial intelligence that basically has all of the information that it could ever want at its fingertips, right?
Mhm.
The
Right.
robotic fingertips. Um, we don't necessarily have to come up with content flows. We don't necessarily have to come up with even content topics. A lot of artificial intelligence content systems can be created by just having an agentic workflow that researches what is trending and then creates content that are designed to engage an audience. And so, like, obviously, with that capability comes this, uh, this like easy button appeal for a lot of people who don't want to put effort into it. Uh, and so you have to combat that. But it's never been easier to create content now with AI. And so what we teach, I actually just dropped it in AI Mavericks today. What we teach is how to use things, how to use content, how to use large language models and agentic AI to create systems for doing research, creating scripts, even writing for you, based off of how you would typically create content.
And you've seen some pretty phenomenal growth for your channels and what you're up to. I've watched
Yeah.
that for over a year. I'd love to. Can you quantify that for the audience and tell us about your SaaS model? Like what's your system and how are you doing it? Feel free to just shamelessly plug, man.
Yeah.
Let's hear
So
about
no, I yeah, appreciate it. So um, I really just started diving into AI content systems. I've been using some systems over the course of the last number of years. Obviously, like when ChatGPT 3 came out, we immediately jumped on it. We're like, hey, let's use this to help write scripts for our clients and our agency. And so I've been doing similar things for the last number of years. But really, I kind of started supercharging it as soon as Agentic came out because as soon as I set up an open claw system just on my desk and said, "Hey, write me scripts every single morning, send them to my inbox." Um, that's when things really started to change. Now I'm producing
Mhm.
7 to 8 videos every single day, dropping them on all of my social medias. Last month was the second month that I was doing it. We got, I think, over 20 million views across social media. And I don't really have massive followings on any of my on any, we built obviously, like, before I got into this, we built a massive following, but all of my business followings are relatively small compared to others in the space. 30,000 followers on Instagram, 20,000 on our professional YouTube channel. But just over the course of the last month, things have really started to rev up, and now we're smooth sailing. We've got systems put in place that are actually doing what we want them to do, which is bring in revenue, bring in additional money, build our brand.
That's amazing. Let's just keep
Yeah.
going on that note. The
Sure.
systems that you've put in place, do you mind revealing some of those or how you guys came up with and pulled those together? And I'm guessing that pulling that bridge together wasn't as linear as maybe you thought it might be. But if I'm wrong, tell me, like, just give us the linear block formula.
Yeah, so I am so integrated into AI that I am always, like, constantly testing and tweaking. And a lot of people kind of describe it's like you need you need it to be your full-time job, or you need to be essentially not working in order to stay on top of everything that's coming out in AI.
Mm,
But and this is why, like, people ask me, like, why are you doing OpenClaw over Perplexity Computer? And I'm like,
great question.
because it came out first and I jumped on it really quickly. And I don't have the time to go and learn another system because I'm
Right.
using this so effectively and efficiently. That doesn't mean that Perplexity Computer is not right, or it won't work for you. It probably will for a lot of people. I know
Well, it's
Manus
like if
is,
you bought a Corvette, right,
yeah,
and then the next day you see a Ferrari. It's like if your daily pursuit and the return is
yeah,
already there, you don't need to abandon what you just bought and move into the next one. So I can see that. If you had to start over today, let me play devil's advocate for a second.
yeah.
Would you immediately, do you think you'd dive into Perplexity Computer, or do you think you'd start with OpenClaw again?
If I was starting without any knowledge, I mean, other than just like the simplicity of getting started, I probably start with something like Perplexity or Claude Cowork. I know Microsoft just released Copilot Cowork the other day. That's another one that's kind of, you know,
Hmm.
these are way more, all of these systems are way more simple than setting up an OpenClaw.
Let
In
me pull
fact,
you
I
back
didn't
to
even
your
set
car
mine
real
up.
quick. For all the visionaries listening in, you heard from
Yeah.
Scott. Try what's there, buy your car and get moving, right? Scott, you got your car. Let's hear about you moving the car because thank you. I want to dive right into what the heck did you do with it? What have you set up?
Yeah, so in OpenClaw, you set up what are called cron jobs or heartbeats. And so essentially, a cron job is a recurring task that you want your agents to be doing at set intervals. So every day, I have my agent go and do research on what is trending topically in the news, in social media. I can categorize it. I can say, only focus on these specific creators. I can say only focus on these specific news outlets. And then it'll go out and do those research and tell me the things that have the most comments, that have it'll tell me the content that has the most engagement. And then on top of that, we have dialed in a scripting process. And I've set a skill. Essentially, it's a memory with OpenClaw, and OpenClaw just goes into its memory and sees how we've designed our scripting layout or scripting process, and it will go there every time it wants to write scripts, and it will follow the frameworks that I've set up for it. And so every day I get 8 scripts sent to my inbox by email, and then I can just automatically transfer them over to my teleprompter, and I could be up and running with scripts on trending topics within 5 minutes max, after it sends me content. On top of that, at any given time during the day, I can say, "Hey, this is trending on Twitter. Can you write a script for me real quick on it based off of X framework?" And I have trained my OpenClaw with multiple frameworks based off of what has performed best for me, based off of what I'm seeing perform well for others. And I even have a voice guide So that way I've fed it a bunch of my own transcripts. So that way it knows what my like nuanced way of saying things sounds like. And so it writes in the way that I would want it to write. It's wild.
I shouldn't be on mute. I'm going to go to one of the technical nuances that kind of trips me up in this process. So you talked about it giving you the teleprompter stuff. How do you get the teleprompter timing right? Because that thing that bothers the heck out of me. Maybe I'm
Yeah.
just too OCD. But do you have to like reformat yours, or have you just gotten really good with the teleprompter where it just kind of flows naturally?
Yeah, after hundreds of videos teleprompted, I've gotten really good at the teleprompter, but I will say this tool right here is like
Mhm.
20 or $30. It syncs with the app, the teleprompter app on my phone, and I can just pause and play, pause and play. So if I get behind, I'll pause and I'll just, my hands are like this when I'm talking, and I'll use this hand to like dynamically emphasize my points. This one always kind of stays right there. And then I'm just constantly start, stop, start, stop. And then I can move as fast. I set my teleprompter to about 3/4 the top speed. So that way it's constantly moving, and I can read as fast or as slow as I want.
What's that little thing called?
This is called, this is a desk view. You can get these on Amazon, DESVIEW. And then it's the Desk View app in the App Store.
Guys, it's the little things in life, right?
Oh,
That we
this
need
this
to
has
bridge the
made me
gap.
so much money just from this little tool.
Cool. Changed my life. Thank you,
Yeah,
Scott. We can end here. No,
there we go.
let's keep going, guys. We got so much opportunity. So tell me about your software and your company. You have a software? Am I right about that? It helps with the scripts that people
Yes.
can purchase a subscription to. The world changes, man. You might have already turned it into something freemium. I don't know.
Yeah, so Yoink It is our software, and essentially it's a Chrome plugin that allows you to scrape ideas off of the internet. So you could go to YouTube, press the Yoink It button on any YouTube video. It'll grab the thumbnail, it'll grab the title, the metadata that it can see. It will grab the transcript, and then it goes over into a dashboard where you can kind of rejigger. So it's like
Repurpose the content. I like
change
rejigger.
we'll go with rejigger.
That's
You
gonna be
can
your
change
next
the
startup.
content. Yeah, the other cool thing though is that we've also allowed API access to Yoink It if you have a pro subscription. And I have it literally just a skill on my OpenClaw now. So I can say, hey, go to social media, go to Facebook, find me some topics that people are talking about, some popular topics, and then take those and write a script. And then it just does it all behind the scenes. So I don't ever even have to, I don't have to go anywhere. I don't have to log into the Yoink It portal. I just pay my $20 a month. Well, I get it for free, but I just, most people just pay their $20 a month, and then they have access to scrape any social media content off of any social media platform. And Yoink It just grabs it all, and you take it into your system and rejigger it.
I love it. Absolutely. So, rejiggering is the professional term for creating news in today's world, and
There
that's
you go.
exactly what it is. Anybody who's been a journalist in the past, your purpose was to document what's happening. Right?
Yep.
We've got so many people in the world now documenting what's happening. It's really nice to have systems that guide us to what's novel in today's world. What is it that people want to hear about, and that's going on, and how do we keep up with it with so many different tasks that we have. But building strategic, repeatable systems that drive measurable growth, improve efficiency, and turn content into a true business asset. What is your social media following? You said 20 million views in the last
Yeah.
month. Did I get that right?
Yep. Yep.
Okay.
20 million. Yeah.
And you've got more or less 20 to 30,000 followers on each of the different platforms. You mentioned that YouTube's starting to take off or something like that. What do you mean by that? What's new?
Yeah, so actually all of my social accounts have been growing like pretty consistently. I wouldn't say there's been anything that's been like a breakout success other than my Graffiti YouTube channel. We've had some really strong breakout success videos there. And that's gone from about 14,000 subscribers to 20,000 subscribers in the last month and a half or so. And so that's pretty good. We're seeing some momentum there, and that will compound over time. But everything else has just kind of been consistent. And I think, if I were to say, like, why for 20 million views, why am I not at 100,000 subscribers? I would probably say that the growth has been consistent with the appreciation of the content, right? My content is not like groundbreaking. It's not something that people haven't seen before. I have a unique value proposition to offer, but it does kind of blend in with a lot of content that other people are doing, and it's kind of designed that way on purpose. It's designed to allow me to have a voice in the community. And if I wanted to see rapid growth, I would probably need to be a little bit more unique with my content. But as a busy business owner, I don't necessarily have the time for that. Now, one thing that I will say, I've been kind of pushed back a little bit, challenged at times, where people are like, well, if AI is writing everything, somebody, my mother-in-law is like, you're a charlatan. And I'm like, no, I'm not. I'm a news anchor, because I'm not saying anything that isn't accurate, and I'm not saying anything that I don't believe. In fact, there's been a couple of times where AI has written scripts where I'll start reading it and I'll be like, no, I actually don't believe this. Let's scrap this one. And then there's a lot of times where I'll press pause and I'll ad lib my thoughts into it, my opinions into it, in the spur of the moment. But I'm not creating content that is, I'm not creating content with AI, 100% AI, that where I'm saying something that, where I'm teaching a tutorial, or I'm teaching something that I don't believe, or that the process doesn't work. So if I feel confident in my strategy, because I'm basically just sharing the news on a different platform, which is no different than most news anchors or even news YouTubers ever, right?
Yeah, exactly. And so, one, I can love and appreciate the relationship you have with your mother-in-law. That is true part of the course. And hopefully, the people realize too, like, you're entertaining. I love that, you reminded me of myself as a singer. I'm not Bruno Mars. I'm not Josh Groban. Like, I don't have that capacity, and I could try as hard as I want to, yet at the end of the day, I'm still going to be me. And I'm going to be limited by my weaknesses, my threats, and I'm going to be able to maximize my strengths and my opportunities. And visionaries, y'all aren't too different than that. You don't have to be creating content as amazing as Scott creates, or as amazing as Mark Roble creates. You got it. There's levels to this stuff. But if it's serving the purpose of helping us with our productivity and profitability, I really want that to be what resonates on this. And so, Scott, as you know, and let's talk about a new angle. Visionaries, imagine that you end up on Ellen DeGeneres or Oprah today. Okay. Guess what? You just got in front of millions and millions of people, and your phone's going to ring off the hook. And my question for you: who's going to answer the phone? Who's there? What system do you have to scale? Do you have a SaaS that people can buy from you? Because if not, you're going to end up on that one-hit wonder stage. You're not going to get any profitability out of it. You don't have any structure to support yourself. You've got to create some infrastructure behind this. True or false, Scott? What are your thoughts on that?
Yeah, no, 100%. I think about this all the time. It's, we've been able to grow to our agency to multiple seven figures because we have systems and processes in place. I used to run every aspect of this business, and it was awesome, when we first started making money, and then it became a nightmare when I wanted to take my family on a vacation. And now, because of AI and the systems that we set up with our team, we've got around 20 employees right now. And because of the systems that we've set up, I've gone from working 50 to 60 hours a week to actually, like, my workload is probably, if I added up all my time spent on like things I need to do, it's probably about 15 hours a week. Everything else is I'm creating content, I'm building relationships, I'm doing things that are actually fun, like things that I enjoy. And any business that wants to scale has to create systems, operating systems that are duplicatable by anybody that you bring into the company. I mean, you look at any corporation, this is why corporations seem so sociopathic. It's because corporations have to exist with systems, where systems are the foundation. If they don't have systems that can be duplicatable, then they're not going to succeed.
Yeah, exactly. And solopreneurs out there, you heard him. He's got 20 employees, 20 team members, I should say. I won't define what level of relationship they have, but my friends, I'm not going to justify it either. Like, if you want to grow, don't go alone. You want to go fast, go
Oh yeah.
alone. You want to go far, go together. This is such an important reality, and I think sometimes we see people on YouTube and we just assume that they're doing it by themselves. They have one virtual assistant that's underpaid and overworked to help with the process, and that's not a good strategy. That is not leading people to win. And so, Scott, how long did you ever go about it alone and try to do things that way? Did that lead to ultra success? Are you the anomaly in the bunch? Let's hear about it.
What's funny is I've always been somebody who recognizes the more people that I include, the further we go, because more minds that complement each other are generally better than one, and more able bodies that are able to do twice the amount of work are better than one able body that can only do as much work as I can handle in any given time. And I love partnerships. Now, I'll say almost all of my partnerships that I've ever been in have failed. And it's
Mhm.
usually because, and I stopped, for about 10 years, I didn't have any partners. Um, but partnerships, are a marriage, and most people don't understand that when entering into
Sure.
a partnership. You just see dollar signs and you want to bring your buddy or your relative in to the business with you. And if you don't have the same work ethic or vision and then complement each other's skills and tasks, then it's doomed to fail. Especially when you start making money, because then everybody wants a slice.
Right.
And then you take too much out. There's envy, jealousy based off of percentages. It can just be a nightmare. I will say this: I've been working with Austin for 2 years now, and he is hands down the best partner I've ever had. Uh, we both have the same vision for the company. We both put in the same amount of work. Our work ethics are the same. We both are energized and feel momentum, and we also have long-term vision, where a lot of people are, it's like, I want that paycheck right now. Both of us are like, hey, we're building this. We can wait. And it's just a very healthy dynamic that we've had. Most partnerships don't operate that way.
No, they're very hard to find,
Oh
and they're
yeah.
very hard to build and cultivate. And so, the neat thing though about you and Austin, I'll go back to that. I know Austin well enough from having bothered him online for a very long time and meeting him at Social Media Marketing World and
Yeah.
evaluating why the heck did my partnerships go poorly and what did I learn about those realities in the process. Even if you guys didn't have a completely shared vision, both of you, I think, understand the value of workability. And like you said, there's other elements that can support and sustain the business marriage, so to speak.
Yeah.
Right? You both have this work ethic. You both understand vision, communication, talking to others, leadership. It's been fun to watch you guys behind the scenes and pay attention to what's going
Thanks,
on
man.
with the AI Mavericks and how you guys have molded your brands into that, how you've launched different communities and learned as you've grown through this. Visionaries, lean into your partnership opportunities, explore what healthy boundaries are. Explore how negotiation works and how to keep negotiation in a position of workability for both parties or multiple parties. These are all elements that are so easy to take for granted in business and overlook and not realize. Scott, I'm going to dive into one other piece on that.
Yeah.
um, I feel bad for the people who feel like you can't cross the lines of family and business,
Mm.
or friendships and business. And here's why, my friends. Yes, it can go horribly wrong, but most people have never known somebody who's super, super successful. And the reality is, if you get to become super, super successful and you did not give your family or friends the opportunity to help in the process, they're going to be mad at you. they're going to say, I would have invested if you would just give me a chance. I would have been there for, and maybe they're lying and maybe they're wrong. But if you as a leader did not give them the opportunity to be involved, then when you actually do get to success, you end up with the same damaged relationship. You didn't even give them a chance. And so, as you consider, is it okay to be in business with friends and family? It's okay, but you've got to learn to lead really well. Thoughts on that?
So my cousin is actually, he's been one of my other business partners. He's actually getting a really amazing opportunity now. And so I think our partnership is dissolving for a brief period of time, probably a couple of years. I can't go into it right this second, but it's huge and amazing. And he's actually same thing. We have the same work ethic. We have the same foundational belief system, meaning like there's more to life and eternity than money. And so we don't let money bother us. And that's probably why we've been so fortunate, is because we don't get emotional attachment to money. Now, I will say I've worked with other family members before in the past, and generally speaking, it has not been the greatest, but because of my fundamental belief system and my personal view on money, when I've had to buy someone back or buy someone out or pay someone back, it leaves us in a really good relationship. It leaves us with a really good relationship because I am not willing to let money interfere with the relationships. I will say this though, generally speaking, I don't like to work with family because it's so easy for someone's feelings to get hurt. The power dynamic with percentages can be really tricky. Work ethics, you know, again, it's just like any other partnership. You got to make sure that you're aligned before you get married.
Correct.
Right.
Well, and the authority and the credibility balance factors are different too. I mean, Michael Jordan didn't play basketball with his sons. It didn't end up happening. LeBron James is playing with his son in the league and on the same team. That is a super, super rare anomaly. And what I see out of him and Bronny is a very, very strong sense of humility as well with it, where Bronny knows that sometimes he's got to go down to the G League. And sometimes he gets to come up, and they just barely had their first assist, father and son assist in the NBA the other day. And this goes back to what Scott's talking about. If you're going to have family, friends in the business, it has to be from a business relationship too. The personal relationship can't take precedence over the business value that's provided. And so that overlap can be difficult in a world where versatility is huge. It used to be different back in the day when everybody was a farmer in the family. It's like, well, okay, everybody's trained on the same thing, and so there's a lot more balance on it. But I think the greater opportunity on this, my friends, is as visionaries realize you can incorporate your friends and family in different ways, and it's not the nepotism or the relationship that causes the business to win or fail. It's the dedication to the principles that drive a great business forward. So we're going to go back to supercharging content results. Guys, you can use this content we're talking about. You can put this probably into Scott's script creator thing, the Yoink It process, and you can rejigger all the content you want from this for your own brands and talk about it from your own angles. This is one of those hot topics. Do you include family or not in business? Use it for your content. So going right back to creating content, Scott, designing AI-powered content systems that actually perform. Not everybody's got Austin Armstrong by their side and AI Mavericks or 20,000 followers. Where do you recommend other people begin with their processes if they don't have a following that may not be super, it's not super large, 20,000, but most people are around 4,000, maybe less. What do they do?
I love this question. I love this question because it's easier now in 2026 than it ever has been before up to this point to create a substantial social media following. And the reason I say that is because for the last 20 years, we've done this, we've been involved in this giant social experiment known as social media. And we have millions upon millions of case studies proving that there are frameworks and systems that if you use correctly, you can blow up social media like that. And it's just a matter of studying what works and what doesn't, and doing what works and don't do what doesn't. The reason I say it's easier now to do that is 5 years ago, the way that we would study content is I would go watch a video and I would take notes. Like every time I'd be like, oh, there's a micro hook. Oh, I see how they did their hook. Now I'm going to rewrite that hook in this way, but I'm going to use their formula and framework. Now, in a matter of seconds, we can grab a transcript from YouTube using Yoinkit or any other transcript grabber. We can grab a transcript, we can throw it into Claude. We can say, hey, Claude, analyze this. And I want you to focus on why was this video so successful? What is the formula for creating a new video like this? What are the elements within this transcript that would be indicative of a retention hook, like something that would we call micro hooks? What would keep the audience watching? And then it'll build you an analysis in 30 seconds, and it'll say your retention beats are 45 seconds apart, and here are the lines that they specifically injected into this script to keep the audience's eyeballs on the screen. Here are the value points they made. Here's the overall structure. Then I can say, hey, Claude, write me a script on this topic using that exact framework. 30 seconds later, you got a script. You're ready to go.
100%.
That's why it's so easy.
And 5 years ago, it would have taken me 5 hours plus 3 mentors to be able to dissect what the heck did Scott just say. Right. I can now take that to AI and be like, Scott used all these words. Help me get it.
Yes.
And it can, oh, here's a hook. Here's what a hook does. Right. Here's what an analysis is. Like you can learn so freaking fast these days. And so we're going to come back. We're going to talk about automation versus strategy. Scott is like the living, breathing image of that right now, and how strategy needs to be tied into your automation in order for that to win well. And guys, AI can't do that alone. You need to have the strategic understanding, or at least somebody who you're referencing that understands strategy to help you produce the automation that works. And we're going to talk about turning content into scalable revenue systems for yourself as well. We'll be right back.
All right. Welcome in to Vision Pros Live with Jackson Callum. I'm your show host. We will be doing interviews for visionary entrepreneurs and guest leaders who are building fantastic visions out there.
Hey guys, I got Scott Simson in the house. He's got a great YouTube channel, LinkedIn, the whole 9 yards. He's got AI Marketing World as well coming up in October of 2026. It's our second time launching this conference. The last conference was super successful. His business partner, Austin Armstrong, has more than 1 million followers. In fact, I think he passed 2 million last month. But these are two gentlemen who are working in the space of advanced AI, and we actually listed them as sponsors on here. I kind of asked for their permission on that. And more was like, hey, I really like what you guys are up to, and said, let's throw this on here because I'm a paying member of AI Mavericks. And it's really, really nice to have mentors, sidekicks, professors by your side learning how to do these crazy math formulas. You know, you don't have to be the god of knowledge. We do a better job when we stand on the shoulders of giants. He's one of the giants whose shoulders I stand on. So definitely check out AI Mavericks. We've also got the AI Marketplace. What? Like our own AI thing? Yes, it's our own AI community. It's ai.firstclassbusiness.io. We focus more on the side of leadership and on the side of helping professionals and business owners get comfortable with the idea that AI is something that you already have the skill sets for. You've been training on it for 20 plus years using AI systems. But for the future economy, you got to know how to lead in this space. AI needs great leaders to come in and use it to build productively and profitably. And those are my two main focuses. How do we become productive and profitable with these systems? I want to shift gears as well to the water project real fast as well, guys. The water project is something that I did not understand the value of when I first saw it. I've never been thirsty in my life. I couldn't really relate to it. And a team member was asking me to switch the cause that we were talking about. Those of you who have another cause that you want us to talk about, drop it in the comments. I love to see what is out there and how we can support it. And I might share the word. I might donate to it the way we do for the water project. What I saw with this were kids who had to leave school to get water, parents who have to leave work to get water. It's dangerous. They don't know what type of quality they're getting. And then I saw this picture of these kids celebrating water with more enthusiasm than my kids even celebrate Christmas Day. We have the ability to have that type of impact on people for generations. And so the neat thing is when you pick a project that you want to help out, it tells you how the project's going to unfold. And when you actually donate to it, they'll send you an email with the updates of what's going on with the project, and you get to see it come to fruition. I love the transparency they work with. Again, my friends, we got 8 billion people to help in this world. I hope you join us on that. Share with us what causes inspire you. I'm sure it will probably inspire me as well. We'll do what we can, but we're going to get back to helping all of you with your visions. Scott Simson, again, I'm just honored to have you here, brother.
Oh, thank you. I'm honored to be here. Thanks for asking.
Absolutely. So automation versus strategy. Let's dive a little bit deeper. OpenClaw, Perplexity, Computer, etc. We can set up automations now. What do we do to make sure that they're strategic? Because right now, Ring Central, I'm like never going back ever. Why? Because their AI chatbot and their AI phone support person, who they eloquently named, continued to block me for 15 days on something that should have been this easy to cancel. Right. So we got multi-billion-dollar companies out there absolutely ruining their AI automation implementations. How do we avoid that? What do we need to be thinking?
I think the key to this, actually, you know what? I'm gonna start with a story. I was talking to the marketing director at a multi-billion-dollar tech firm last week. This was one of our clients, and he was telling me that every big enterprise wants to see AI integrations. It's the buzzword. And enterprises are primarily about optics. How good are they looking? Because how good they look determines their stock value a lot of the times, right? Revenue can be driven or taken away strictly by what the news says about you or how good or bad you look at any given moment. And so they're very focused on optics. Big enterprise right now, this is what he was telling me. He said, internally, these companies, they all want to say they have AI integrations so that way they can look good. But a lot of these layoffs that are happening that they say are AI related aren't necessarily because they have AI integrated into their corporate structure. It's a lot of it. I mean, even with like Jack Dorsey and Block, he laid off 4,000 people and then quietly the next week hired a bunch of them back. Said it was AI. The stock shot up because, oh my gosh, look, they're using AI to save money. This is going to make the company more profitable. But it wasn't necessarily because of AI, or even with Oracle laying off 30,000 people yesterday, AI related purposes. They're more profitable, I think, than ever before, and they let go of 30,000 people. But when it comes down to it, was it actually because of AI, or was it because they want to allocate that money into building more AI data centers? And so that's a good spin that you can put. That's how you can say AI is doing this. So here's my thought with automations and integrations because of this. Enterprises, I don't think, and I'm very deep into AI space. Enterprises, I don't think, have a great way of integrating AI into their processes yet. Because right now, even from an agentic perspective, it's all still based off of some of the big LLMs. And you need the big LLMs to kind of do the legwork. But if you prompt one thing right now, and then you take that exact same prompt 10 minutes from now, or even 30 seconds from now, and try to get the exact same results, you don't. And there's no answer for that. You can't create a system out of a hallucination, like something that hallucinates 1 out of every 15 prompts that you give it. That's like your corporate structure would completely disappear. So I think that automations are only as good as the person who is prompting and who can catch the problems and tweak the prompts in order to get results that more closely align with what they're looking for from that automation. So for me, for example, what I mean by this, like for me, if my OpenClaw produces a poor result, even though I'm 90, I'm 100% automated in a lot of cases, if it produces something that I don't like, I will say, hey, you screwed this up, fix it. And then it'll go back and it'll fix it. But that's a really hard thing to do if you're working for a corporation and there's 15 people working on a project and everybody's trying to get similar results. Like you can't do that. For me, it works really well because I can catch everything and then I can get what I want out of it. But it's like me working with a team member or a group of team members. I'll catch what they're doing wrong and I'll tell them they're doing it wrong so that way they can fix it.
Yes.
This is like the dilemma that I think a lot of companies and people are going to run into when they try to automate things. And the people who are saying that they have it 100% figured out are lying. Like,
yeah, they are. It's like, thank you.
Yeah, they're lying. It's all there's a lot of like clickbait just to get people excited. But I mean, like, I've even talked to people who are like, I used it to do this and it made me $10,000. I was like, cool. Was it sustainable? Did you do it again? Oh, yeah. I mean, no.
Right.
They did it once and then they either saw, oh, that took up 100,000 tokens and cost me $5,000. And then they just stopped, or the automation broke. Like it wasn't sustainable.
Because but I got 5 clients who paid me $2,000 each to lie to them. Right.
Yeah, exactly.
It's a sad reality. There's the tactics in it. My friends listening in, again, lean less into automation, more into strategy, more into how do I use this stuff for strategy? Who can guide me on the systems and processes as they're able to be implemented in the here and now? So optics, let's go back to that a little bit. So yes, there's a lot of brands that are leaning into this, and these layoffs are happening. Speaking of optics, I'll point out the CEO of NVIDIA. What a brilliant man. So Jensen Huang.
Yeah, Jensen.
This guy, he came out and said the future where NVIDIA employees are going to work alongside millions of AI agents, and he plans to grow the company's workforce to 75,000 over the next decade. So he's basically smart enough to say, hey guys, we're not only creating millions of AI agents, and we're going to do that, we're going to double our workforce. We're going to hire twice as many people. That's an optic, and hopefully they fulfill on that. I can see that being fulfilled on. Obviously, they'll have layoffs throughout the process, right? If somebody's working in an environment or an area where AI is going to replace that specific area, then that person's going to be let go, but they're probably going to hire 1 to 2 people on in other areas where the individuals are still needed. And so I don't think that it's a process of like companies are trying to let people go just because they can, as much as they're probably strategically trying to evaluate, okay, how are we going to do this and learn from the mistakes of other brands that are doing it, or maybe they're pioneering it like McDonald's is. And it's like, I don't ever want to go into another McDonald's again because those machines suck. It's like, I won't go back. It doesn't have the same environment that it used to back when I was a kid and got to enjoy the playscapes. I'll go Chick-fil-A all day, every day in order to have the experience that I want, even though they too have a head of AI at Chick-fil-A. They're definitely creating automations, but how do we plug that information? And you guys don't have to listen to me and Scott. You can take the examples we just gave and say, how does this apply to my life? How do I learn from these strategies and implement it for my businesses? I'll give another example in a minute. But Scott, I want to give you the opportunity to dive back into turning content into scalable revenue engines. And I'm going to talk about how advertising and AI is one of the most prominent, consistent AIs that has existed for decades. But how do we turn content into scalable revenue engines? Do you have content of your own that is creating revenue?
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, if you go back to like the old school sales letter, right? Sales psychology hasn't really changed. It's always been the same. And most people make purchase decisions by emotion. And you can have AI learn those frameworks for how to pull emotion out of people. And it's just a skill. It's just a system that's duplicatable literally in every format. So I have AI that writes scripts, it writes emails, actually sent out an email last year, one email. I'm a very poor emailer. I sent out one email and made $40,000. The whole thing was written by AI. That's how I use AI in order to sell. I have it write my CTAs, I have it write VSLs, I have it write sales letter, email copy, even short form scripts that I want to convert, that I want to use to convert. I'll have it write those for me, and it crushes. It's great. But again, like a lot of people, I get pushback on this all the time. I have thoughts and posts on Facebook that go viral probably once a day, and it's generally viral in the bad way, where 95% of the people are there to argue with me about what AI can do. And then you ask them how they're incorporating AI into their life, and they're like, I'm on the free version of ChatGPT. I'm like, well, you're not really doing anything with it then. And that said, you can have one of the biggest questions that always comes up is like, yeah, but how is it making money? And I'll sit there and I'll explain this stuff to him. Like, I'm talking to you right now. I'm explaining this to you. And you get it. Even though I might use some nuanced terms that are relative to content, you understand what I'm saying because you're in the marketing space, you're in the business space. Most people don't grasp those concepts. And so they'll listen and they'll be like, yeah, but how are you making money? It was like that. It's like on Zoolander.
Right.
David Duchovny's like, I literally just told you. Like, I literally just told you how I make money with it. And they're like, I don't believe it. Anyway, my point is that it's very easy to program your large language models, your agents, your automations to write with persuasive copy, and it's gotten very, very good at it.
It has. I'm gonna double down. I'm gonna one up a little bit on this one, Scott. And this is for you too, for your strategy, because there's a concept that is taught in sales, my friends. These concepts that Scott's talking about, they can be used ethically and they can be used unethically. I'll prove my point. I certainly dove into emotions when I talked about the water project. Right. My goal was to emotionally entice all of you to go and help that project the same way that we are. And there's a lot, even in what I just said, there's a lot of little psychological truths that I leveraged to make sure that you understand the value of what I'm talking about. It is no different than if you tell your wife you love her, whether you mean it or not. That is still a very powerful emotional reality. So let's go to what salespeople teach. In the sales world, they teach that there's two reasons people buy: because of pain or because of pleasure. And that is not true. That is true of general pop, my friends. If you want to manipulate somebody based on their emotions, then lean into pain and pleasure. The problem is you will not be able to attract sophisticated buyers. Why is that? Because if I go to LeBron James and I say, hey, are you in pain? Why don't you stop working out? Or hey, you want another Taco Tuesday? Let's make Taco Wednesday as well. He would be able to discipline himself to know this person's manipulating me. I don't want to lean into pain and pleasure. Why? Because people like LeBron James are driven by a higher level form. They're driven by purpose. Does that mean they don't value communication related to pain and pleasure? No, but they're not easily manipulatable. I once saw somebody write a piece of copy on automation for LinkedIn for doctors to go to a conference. In 3 paragraphs, there were 17 exclamation points. Do you know how to scare a doctor off? Talk to them with exclamation points. That's it. They're not easily manipulated because they understand how to do their research. So this goes back to our concepts on automation and strategy, my friends. You've got to understand how to strategically utilize these tools. And my hope is that you will use them for good, to help people, to intrigue people, to attract people, to inspire them to want to work with you. Those 3 leveraged points, if you leverage those with ethics and healthy boundaries, you're going to create long-term value, higher order values as well, and you'll be able to drive more success for yourself. So one of the things that we're going to be implementing with Perplexity, hopefully within the next month, my team has an arbitrary goal on this. And so the goal, when we get this specific funding set, we're going to launch Perplexity Computer, and we're going to actually set the system up to scrape for emails or perhaps use one of our own email databases and email people about the AI marketplace, to come in and try it out. We saw a case study in not a case study, we saw I don't know, a write-up, I guess you'd call it, on one of Austin's comments where somebody had said their cost per lead was extremely low doing things this way. So we're going to try it out. We're going to see if we can set up Perplexity Computer with an email address and have it contact people and see if it drives anybody into the AI marketplace. Back to Scott's point, how are we going to do that successfully? Tweak, 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 tweak and optimize. Learn from our mistakes on it, see what variables exist. The other thing that we've been doing recently, we started to put advertising money into this show. We had a projection that was way conservative. We thought we were going to get 500 subscribers over 6 months and $1,200 in ad spend. Like we knew we could get that. We spent $12 and got 700 subscribers. It was awesome. And how do we do that? We didn't use our own money for this. We simply talked to our guests and said, if you want to boost your own episode, you can put $100 in, $50 goes to the episode, $50 goes to our South American team to be able to use in their own design. Do they want to do another ad? Do they want to do organic traffic? We want to inspire our virtual assistants to think for themselves like executives. So we now have advertising money coming through that we don't have to pull out of our own pocket, but that allows our guests to be able to maximize their own episodes. And the AI algorithm of broad targeting in underprivileged markets, by the way. We're not targeting America. We're targeting places like Singapore and Africa and Central and South America. I live in Ecuador. I wouldn't see the ad if I was in North America. There are expats all throughout the world too, but YouTube's job is to serve that content to the most relatable individuals who are going to eat it up. And they're subscribing like wildfire because they never get to see information like this, which boosts our organic algorithm as well. So those are little secrets from an AI perspective that get overlooked or underappreciated. Guys, get in and practice. I wouldn't be in Perplexity Computer or planning that if it wasn't for the AI Mavericks and what Scott and Austin are doing to lead the way and help me see what needs to be done or what can be done. So Scott, I'll give you the final word. Any other advice for visionary leaders out there who want to launch their brands well and build something that means good things to the world, that creates their legacy and serves others? What would be your final points of wisdom?
I think that I just want to I want to clarify what AI is and what it isn't, right? Mm-hmm. AI is a force multiplier. If you don't already know how to make money, you can't press a button on AI and have it make you money. AI is an extension of your knowledge. It has all of the information that man could ever know, but it needs somebody with actual skills and wisdom and work experience in order to know how to use it to get the outcome which they desire. And so I think that I think there is a huge misconception that it's going to, agents are going to replace people. I don't think that we have to worry about that. I think what it'll do is make employees force multipliers, and every employee, every team member, every 9-to-5 worker who starts deploying AI to make themselves better, you're only going to make yourself more valuable and more retainable. And so I think people are kind of looking at AI the wrong way. I would much rather see a world where everybody uses AI to just get more done and feel more confident in themselves, as opposed to a place where robots are working the line and they've turned into your plumber and they're doing everything for you now. I don't see that as an outcome, but I want to be the optimist here.
I think that's the best definition though I've ever heard of AI, Scott. So thank you for that. My friends, you can connect with Scott Simson on Instagram, on LinkedIn, etc. I highly recommend doing it. When you find a great source, don't just read the book, talk to the author. Go and get involved with them. As Scott said, it really comes down to what we know about making money, but we don't have to limit our knowledge to ourselves alone. We can be part of a community of great leaders who know what they're doing, and we can learn from what they're up to as well. Join AI Mavericks. Join me over in the AI marketplace as well. Come join me on this show, visionproslive.com. You don't have to be one of the best AI gurus in the world like Scott Simson is. You can be creating a totally new vision. I'd love to have you. there's a button in the top right corner that says Be Our Guest, and we'll see you on the next episode.
Thank you for being here today. I'm really happy that you tuned in to Vision Pros Live. I'm looking forward to seeing your reactions as these episodes continue to move forward. This is going to get more and more fun. We'll have more and more engagement as well. We'll invite people to participate in the show. And thank you for giving us your time and attention. Have an excellent time.